Welcome to this episode of Life Science Success. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don, and I'm a digital marketer in life sciences. And before we get started today, I have just a quick message from our sponsor.
This episode of Life Science Success is brought to you by D3 Digital Media Marketing. Dive into the digital world with confidence and creativity on your side. D3 Digital Media Marketing is your all-in-one solution for making a lasting impact online. From the vibrant, engaging world of social media marketing, podcasts, and webinars, to the strategic depths of website development, SEO, and content marketing, we tailor our approach to fit your unique brand story. Let's elevate your presence and drive success together. Your digital journey starts here. Visit d3digitalmedia.com to learn more.
It's really great to have you, and it's really good to have you on the show as well. And yeah, it's good to be here.
It's a pleasure, Don. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I honestly wonder, uh, first of all, I have a feeling that whenever I went to the shot just with you, I have a feeling that nobody got your initial intro. So I just want to just say this again, just so that everybody knows kind of at least my side of the bio, and then we could jump into you. So in this episode of Life Science Success, my guest is Yaky Yanay. He's the CEO of Pluri. They're a pioneering biotechnology company at the forefront of regenerative medicine and cell-based solutions. And in terms of the technology, this morning, I think I have a feeling that the last, scene just with you didn't have that. But it seems to me like, Pluri is definitely an interesting company. Would you mind sharing with the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Of course, with pleasure. So Pluri is an interesting company. I'm going to talk about it. I started my journey in biotech and life science 2 decades ago. I'm actually a veteran of the high-tech industry in Israel with a financial background. And I'm one of these guys that saw, one graph that literally changed my career and changed my life. And that was the graph of changing in life expectancy that I saw almost 20 years ago. And when I saw it, I said, oh gosh, I need to be part of this industry that will be on life science and healthcare. And since then, this is what I do. And it's been an amazing journey. But yeah, I was Pluri for more than 18 years in different roles. And I really think that this is biotech, of course, is the most amazing industry in the world, in my opinion. And it's coming big time, mainly because of aging and longevity on this planet.
And if I recall, your history, even with Pluri, was that you were president of something as well, and then you just recently became the CEO. If that's correct, if, I believe my memory is correct. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely right. I started my journey in Pluri actually as the CFO. I do have a financial background, like standard ENY graduate with, but I always, like science. I like the labs and I like research. So I did many roles in Pluri with as a CFO, COO, executive VP. I even went to a certain period as a co-CEO, and recently I took the CEO position. And I love it. I think the experience that I had at the different positions give me a very deep understanding and a very broad understanding of Pluri as a whole that allow me to lead this amazing company to success.
Very good. And then, how has your experience across all of these positions, really shaped your approach to leadership there?
So I always say it's like working with people that are very extreme. When you're holding one position, so you mainly care about what you need to take care of, about your KPIs. You see the organization, but you're always very focused in what you need to achieve. And as a CFO, it's about budget, cash flow, raising money, and make sure that And as a CEO, you have operational concerns that you need to take care of. But each and every one of them tells you a lot about the different angles that you can actually or need to evaluate company. And I think the most important thing that is understanding that there is a lot of different issues and aspects to each and every of decisions that you make. So today, after 2 decades, I'm able to make the decisions easily because, from some reason, based on the different roles that I made, I think that I have a very good hint of how it's going to impact the different departments in the company and how we can bring it all together. So it is important to have a diverse understanding about the organization from all the different angles. And I really hope that these 2 decades gave me the ability to do it in a wise way.
Yeah, so one of the things that it says as well in your bio is that you're motivated, by supporting the Israeli life science industry. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. I believe that we are living in a time that CEOs and executives, I like to call them business leaders, we have responsibilities which are first and foremost our company, shareholders, but we have the responsibility for the place and where we live. So I born and live in Israel, and I love this country to my bones. And one of my main goals that I need to achieve, I believe that Israel is one of the most amazing hubs for innovation, biotech, and the ability to impact this world. So part of it, I'm also very involved with the industry. We have a very nice organization here, which is a combination of all the high-tech and life science companies in Israel. I think today it's over 500 or 600 companies, from big multinational companies to small startups. So this is kind of a network that kind of navigate all the advanced industries companies in Israel, which allow this ecosystem to flourish. So I served as the chairman of the life science. We have like chairman from high tech and chairman from life science. So I served as the chairman of life science. In the last 3 years, I'm actually serving as a board member. So I stepped down from the chairman. It was a little bit too busy for me, given all the activity that we have in Pluri. But yeah, that's our role, and I encourage each and every CEO of every company to be involved with our state, country, environment, community. It is important, and we have a good impact on that.
Yeah, it does seem like it seems like lately I've had more conversations with people, from Israel. So I find it interesting as well, just the depth and breadth of all the things that are going on in Israel around life sciences. So in kind of my next round of questions, I just would like to shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about Pluri some. Can you explain Pluri's mission and the innovative cell-based solutions you're developing?
Of course, um, Pluri is a company that we are dedicated to creating product out of cells. I'm a big believer in cells. Um, I mean, we all know that, but not always acknowledge that. With the very simple understanding that everything on this planet is built from cells. Every living organism is built from cells. We are built from cells. Our pets, trees, whales, bacteria, our steaks are from cells. That's the building blocks of life. Trees. And our mission, and we learned in the last 20 years, we develop a very novel technology and knowledge base how to develop product out of these cells. And we have developed a very strong IP that allow us and technologies that allow us to expand cells very in mass scale production. So if you are controlling the understanding of how to develop unique cell product and you have the technology to do it on scale, you can basically create almost every product on this planet. So this is Pluri's mission. We cracked like the code of how to work with these tiny organisms. I really admire cells. You should know, I mean, you should just look at them in the microscope and you understand that these are social creatures. I mean, they communicate with each other. They have their own language, which is signaling and interaction. They are social creatures because they need the environment. If you're going to put cells alone, they're going to die. They need really the environment. They need the friends. They need the community. And they are smart. So they have the ability to interact, respond to the environment. And today we utilize it from developing a very smart drugs. If I like to call cells a drug with intelligence, or even developing different products that just need mass scale of cells, like food. It can go from creating, meat, fish, but also plant. And this is what we do. We build a very unique model that is relying on Pluri as like, I like to call it like the mothership. Pluri contains all the knowledge, all the information, all the IP, and we are building around us. We are actually very busy in venture creations around us that each and every of these ventures is focused in one thing and one thing only. So we have a bunch of activities and companies around us. All of them are relying on the 20 years of knowledge, 140 patents that we have, and we are creating companies that are champions in their fields, relying on everything that was built here. And it's quite amazing. And suddenly you can see that everything is sales, and we are controlling these tiny, amazing organisms and creating product for that actually people need them. And today it's become important from healthcare system, but also food security, environment, and they can make a huge impact on our life to life on day-to-day basis sales. So I have nothing by appreciation and admiration to these tiny creatures.
So tell me more about about your product and what you offer. So tell me more about that and what is it that that Pluri is offering in terms of each one of these areas. I find it interesting that your company is not only, I mean, obviously you touched on it a little bit in your intro here. Um, that cells are everywhere, but I find it interesting that there aren't many companies that sort of cut across industries, right? So you have everything that you just mentioned just a second ago in terms of things in life sciences, but also things that cut across agriculture and food. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about the products themselves.
Absolutely. And very interestingly, that everything is built from cells. And in many aspects, I see like the blueprint that created all of us use the same blueprint probably for different creatures. And so this is what allow us to be able to go across the different industries. Let me give you a few examples because, as I said, we're always going to work with cells, but a second part of our strategy is that we're going to always partner. We would like to partner with companies that have the access to market and can identify or can characterize very clearly how the product should look like. So Pluri is focused in the innovation and the large-scale manufacturing, and our partners are focused in the go-to-market, like facing the market itself. And let me give you a few examples. Let's start with our healthcare sector or our healthcare vertical, where we are developing products that are derived from placenta cells. We are collecting cells from placenta after full-term delivery. These are donated placentas, so the mother needs to sign a consent of donation. We are able to extract cells out of these placentas, and then using our system as our bioreactor to expand them massively. Actually, these systems are so effective that from a single placenta, we can manufacture over 20,000 doses. And when we have this product and we have different products from placenta, I'll give you like two examples. One is a collaboration that we have with the US NIH and the Department of Defense. They had a need, or we are doing a collaboration that we are developing a placenta cell product as a countermeasurement against a nuclear radiation. So if people got actually high level of nuclear radiation, cases like Fukushima or Chernobyl, we are using our product in order to support the recovery of this individual that was exposed to high level of nuclear radiation. So the US government is preparing for a case of such massive disasters. And we were able to show that if we inject these placenta cells to population that was exposed to radiation, we can increase survival from like 30% to close to 100%. So this is how it works. We have in this case, the partner which is defining exactly the scope of the product. They are funding it. We got a contract from the US government for that. We are doing the development and the manufacturing, and they're going to use it for stockpiling and more as much as they need. Let me give you more examples. We are doing the same concept, for example, for knee osteoarthritis, but this time we partner with the largest clinical center in Europe, the Charité of Berlin, that they came with the spec of what the product should do, placenta product that we are using it today for treatment of knee osteoarthritis, that they are conducting all the clinical studies that we are doing. But what really changed in Pluri, and that happened about 2.5 years ago, that we decided to expand, as we said, to more industries. And one of the most amazing examples that I like to share is that we got a lot of interest around the cultivated meat industry. People were trying to create, meat on large-scale production using bioreactors, but nobody had the scale. So it was too low of production, too high of a price. And we understood that we can actually contribute significantly to this industry. So then the strategy kicks in. We contacted the largest food producer in Israel. The name is Tnuva. It is a subsidiary of Brightfood, the second largest food producer in China. We told them, this is what you're going to do. This is the technology. This is the expected scale and pricing. We opened a joint venture. They invested the funds into the venture. And we created an entity that is solely focused on cultivated meat and fish. In 12 months, we were able to demonstrate numbers that nobody in the world was able to show ever, like several fold better than anything else. It was convincing enough that a few months ago, we got two major strategics, one from the US and one from Europe, that stepped in also to this joint venture. And if everything going to go well, I believe in 2026, our subsidiary, Ever After Food, will be able to show a system that will produce several hundreds of kilos of meat each and every run, a bioreactor run, which takes about a week. So things are changing, and Pluri is there on the front to use the technology to create product. And today we are doing even crazier stuff than that around the plant and more. So it's quite an amazing journey. Like, don't know if you are drinking coffee right now, but I can tell you a few things about coffee and how sales can actually benefit this market as well.
Very nice. Yeah, I'd love to hear that. Yes, I have my cup of coffee sitting here this morning, but I mean, maybe this leads us to my next question as well too, which is, can you share with me a little bit more about any exciting projects or initiatives that you're currently working on?
Absolutely. So a few of the most exciting projects that we are doing, and I did discuss the cultivated meat, but I do want to let me emphasize of two of them, which are quite unique. One came after the joint venture that we did around cultivated meat, and I actually got a call from one of the largest coffee companies in the world. And he said, "Hey, Yaky, can you do cultivated coffee?" And I literally started to laugh on the Zoom. And I told him, "You're kidding me, right? Why do you need cultivated coffee?" Well, it's a nice green plant, so I didn't see any reason why you like to do cultivated. And they said, "Yeah, you are right, but in 20 years, we're going to lose 50%, 50 of the global production." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, it's about 50% reduction in the land that we can grow coffee. So we need to find new solutions, and we're looking for new solutions." And I'm a big coffee lover, so I was very worried about the Zoom call. And I said, "Okay, let me think about it." So I got my team here. And very shortly after, we were able to show that the same thing that we are doing with the placenta, or we are doing with the meat, we can actually do it also with plant. So taking a biopsy from a coffee, from the coffee plant itself, you have the cells that are creating the beans. We can put them in our bioreactor system, adjusting the right environment, and allow them to expand massively. And then you dry them, roast them, and you get a product that looks like coffee, smells like coffee, tastes like coffee, because it's coffee. but instead of growing it in cherries, you grow it in a reactor. So that's, I think, for me, it was a mind-blowing experience when my team gave me the first cup of coffee, what was growing in the lab. I couldn't believe it. And this is something that we are doing right now. We get a lot of interest. And since we started, now all the chocolate companies calling us because, as you know, cocoa prices are through the roof because there is shortage in cocoa and coffee because of change of climate. So this is how the world gonna look like. We love coffee, we love chocolate. We need to find new solutions how to manufacture them. We cannot abuse this planet as we did in the last centuries, and I believe that sales they hold a very great solution, a very good promise to do it. So this is a product. This is one project I'm very excited about. That we spin it out to a company named CoffeeSci. But I'm also quite excited about the proposition that we have in the radiation, as I explained to you, for a very simple reason. The most obvious one is what's going on now in Europe, Russia, Ukraine. Everybody talks about nuclear weapon, which freaks me out. I don't like these talks. I mean, get real, guys. I mean, we are here to live, not to die.
Right.
But in my opinion, there's going to be a massive need because we need energy. We need energy in the next decades. I just read a publication that AI will consume about 8% of the global energy, and we need to come with new solutions. And probably nuclear reactors can be the most reasonable solution, as I see from expert in energy, to meet the demands that is needed. So using sun energy or water, it's limited to capacity. And when the world is currently considering to expansion of nuclear reactors, I really want to make sure that there's going to be a product that, God forbid, if it's going to be an issue, we'll be able to save lives. So that's something that we work now quickly to try to complete that solution so we can increase the safety that will be needed, assuming that this world is passing to a nuclear, creating electricity and power from nuclear energy. That's something that quite interesting that we are doing as well. And it's all about sales. Same thing. Placenta sales, coffee sales, all about sales.
When you were talking about the coffee, the one thing that kept running through my head was there has to be some college PhD student that was out there, that's used a bioreactor to do something with coffee in the past anyway, right? I mean, we all sort of know that the key to our espresso machines is the pressure that it has on the inside. So I would imagine that there's got to be somebody that's out there that said, hey, look, let me see if I can't run my coffee through here and what that does in purifying the coffee too. Yeah. So can you
Yeah,
share
it's sure.
one of the things I saw was that you have a collaboration with BIRAD, BIRAD, to advance cancer immunotherapy for solid tumors. Can you tell me more about that?
Absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, we work in collaboration. I think that this world is moving too fast and it's too sophisticated for anyone to do it by itself, especially companies which are not very large scale. This is also a product that we are developing based on a need. We always start with the need. And we look at the immunotherapy market, basically oncology market. We all know that the immunotherapy, the autologous immunotherapy, like taking patient own cells and doing autologous immunotherapy, showed very good data treating liquid tumors. But actually, none of the companies, there is still a major gap of treating solid tumors. But most importantly, if we want to make sure that immunotherapy will be available for a broad number of patients or large population, it will be very challenging to do it in an autologous setting because it's going to take time, process, and we know that it costs almost $400,000. So that's not affordable on a scale. And in this time, when we always look at human organs, I'm keeping back to the placenta. I'm amazed by this organ. It's quite a remarkable organ. And we did identify in the placenta a subpopulation of Um, we call them non-conventional T cells. They are MAIT cells, MAIT, mucosal associated inverted T cells. So these are cells that are T cells that are actually embedded into the organ. So they know how to function, filtrate, or move inside the organ itself in a tissue. And we thought that if we can use these cells that are coming from placenta and holding very unique immunological capabilities, and we're going to integrate a CAR into them, we'll be able to create the first real allogeneic product that we can manufacture on scale. We have a bunch of new patents that we filed and already granted using our technology for mass expansion of these T cells. So we feel very comfortable that we were able to do it really in high scale and, of course, contribute significantly to make it available to people in a reasonable pricing. And we can see that these cells are actually able to penetrate and to be able to infiltrate into the tumor itself, attacking it. It's still early. We are now starting towards the journey toward IND. In this case, we partner with Birad. It's from University Bar Ilan, one of the most brilliant scientists that I know around using CAR technologies and T cells. And luckily, also, we got some government funding to support that. So we have some brilliant guys joining to the team and also funding it. And that's the way to move things forward, in my opinion. Collaboration, and bring the product relatively quickly to market.
Yeah,
That's our goal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, given your sort of introduction to life sciences and your overall journey in life sciences as well, what are some of your perspectives in terms of the biggest challenges that life sciences face?
Well, for me, it's written in like huge fonts all over the walls, but we don't acknowledge that. It's if there is one phenomena that impact everything on this planet, is the aging phenomena. I don't know if you people like understand or know that, Don, but only in the last 150 years, humanity doubled its life expectancy. We doubled it from 45 in average. In Israel or in the US, men, we live like close to over 80, a little bit, women to 84. But when you look even today in Korea and Japan, it's getting to 87 and 89. So the world is aging on almost unbelievable in manner. And people don't talk about it. So for me, this is the one big thing that's going to impact this planet. And look at different countries across the globe. I'm looking at China. For me, this is the largest clinical experience or clinical study in the world, how you handle aging. These guys in 20 years, they're going to have 500 million people over 60. And now you tell me, how do you handle an economy with 500 million people over 60? How is the healthcare system looks like? What is your GDP? How the roads, how everything is going to look. It's very different. And this is something that, in my opinion, is the biggest challenge for us. And basically, we need to transform life science from hospitalization and chronic treatment to regeneration and recovery. I always use this frame and to say we need to shift this system from being a sicker system to healthcare system. We cannot just treat the sick. It doesn't make any sense. And I believe that sales has a huge impact on moving our healthcare system to become really a healthcare system. And that's what I'm passionate about. It's amazing phenomena, and it's coming big time. So I'm urging your audience to read about aging, to understand how it's going to impact them. And people today talk. I mean, we just had a conference here in Israel about aging and longevity. And yeah, people talk easily. People should live to 150, 200, even more. Think how many generations you're gonna see, Don, and you need to remember the names of all your grandchild and the grandchild. Well, it's gonna be challenging. So, but it's coming, and
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing for the healthcare, for the entire for humans.
it's interesting too to think about that and if we live to be 200, what would the retirement system be? Well, when do you actually decide that you're not going to work anymore? However, I have a good friend that he's 84 right now and still working just as hard as he did in his 20s. So yeah, I
You know,
I completely understand.
yeah,
Yes. So
that's
so
it.
what's the greatest leadership advice that you've ever received?
So I'm following. I mean, of course, I had a lot of advices from many smart people over the years. But there is a one advice that I didn't get it directly. I actually got it from, from our Bible, from Gidon ben Yoash. He was a judge, and that's he basically said, he said, I'll try to translate it in English. He said, "Betzim, look to me and do so." So leading by example. And
Hmm.
in my opinion, this is the most important thing in a leader. You can never ask your employees, management, or your team to do anything that you don't show them that you do it. So for me, this is like the one core thing that I'm always going to follow, leading by example. That's the only thing, that's the thing that we should do. And people understand, and you cannot bluff people. They're smart, they see. And if you don't act like the way, they're not going to follow you. So that's a simple rule, not always easy to do, but we should if you want to lead people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such good advice. What inspires you?
Well, I'm in the biotech field, so it's the one thing that really inspires me, and in my case I'll give you two examples. One, of course, is the human body. I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at even a sub part of it, like the placenta or the different organ, and I'm amazed by the level of sophistications and interaction, communication. It's such an amazing, delicate, and complicated network of activities that our body is able to handle. We are doing bioreactors. This is what we do for 20 years. We invested hundreds of millions of dollars to try to create a system that will allow cells to grow in the right environment. And I always say the only thing that we're trying to mimic is the creation, the human body. And for my opinion, it's just something that we should admire. All of us are carrying the most amazing reactor in the world. We call it our body. We always complain that we are too fat, but it's an amazing system. So we should have an appreciation to what we carry. It's a big gift. And I can tell you, we do it a lot, and we are probably the best in the world in creating bioreactors, but we're still just getting close to the creation, but we are not there yet. So that's something that I look at it and I'm blown on the day-to-day things that I'm seeing, and that's something that really sometimes you can just cannot explain the level of sophistications that we see there. And one more thing that really inspires me, and now being in Israel, is this young generation in Israel, especially with the time that we've been in the last year. And I guess the same thing is happening in the US. People say, okay, this is a spoiled TikTok generation, nothing good going to come from them. But we see the young guys now rising. We see them rising. And we see them saying, guys, you are in the age of 40, 50, 60, you blew it. We're going to take over, we're going to take charge soon. And I see the level of energy, sophistication, dedication, and how much they're willing to make this world and this country great. It's something that I'm speechless. I have three daughters in this age, so I just look at them and I truly admire that. And I see it all over the country. And I guess that's something that gives you a lot of optimism that the young generation is actually quite amazing. And I'm inspired by them.
Oh, perfect. What concerns you?
Whew. Well, it's not very difficult to be concerned when you live in Israel nowadays, so that's not a problem. Um, but I'm concerned about people that knows everything. That's my main concern. And today, I think all over the world, we got a bunch of people, many of the politicians that knows everything. And I'm quite concerned about people that are very extreme in their opinions. So I'm saying it's a complicated world. We are like ourselves. There are a lot of angles to what we do. We should try to work in harmony. And I'm very concerned about people that are that are very extreme in what they do, in their opinions. It can be political or even religious, but we need to be more open-minded. We need to be more flexible. We need to communicate with our environment. We should understand that we are built from these organisms, that they know it. So our body actually contains on the cellular level the ability to do it. And I really hope that we, as the whole organ, will be able to do it. So we just need to make this world better. It's from every aspect: political, environmental, food supply. We have everything on this planet, but we are not using it smartly. And I hope that in small places we'll be able to create these communities of good and well that are going to work for each other. And we got blessed to live in this world, so we should use the time well to leave it a little bit better for the next generation. So this is where I'm coming from.
Thank you for sharing that. I greatly appreciate, a lot of what you're saying as well, that I feel like, we're so much better together. We just have to figure out how to sort of live together and sort of, just be more understanding of each other. And so, yeah, completely agree. Last question, what excites you?
I'm excited by innovation. It's very obvious, but I'm excited by innovation. I must say that I get most of my ideas also I'm a runner. So after a good run, I started to feel when a new idea is starting to pop up in my brain, and I say, oh gosh, not again, not again, not again. But by the end of the run, I'm calling my CTO and I tell him, Leo, what do you think about AI? And when he hear me calling him, when I'm taking my breath after run, he say, oh, Yaky, what's going to be now? So I'm excited about ideas about innovation, how everything is possible nowadays. We have access to unlimited amount of information, which is mind blowing in my opinion, and a lot of things can come. And so while we see the news and we see what's going on the globe, I'm quite optimistic about Homo sapiens. We are quite a good creatures and we're able to do a lot when we are working together in a smart way. So I hope that we can transform this planet to a better place, which is deserved to be.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And so, Yaky Yanay, thank you so much for being on the Life Science Success Podcast. I greatly appreciate you being here and for sharing what you're doing with Pluri across all the different industries. It seems like you have an awful lot going on, and I would encourage anybody that's watching or listening to this podcast, just to go out and check out the company. So, thanks a lot for being here, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, John. And as you said, there is a lot of information on our website. We are also traded on NASDAQ, so on all financial media, you can get a lot of information about Pluri. And thank you for your time, and thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot.